This is an Ignite talk, not a lightning talk, so these slides are going to auto-advance on me, so I know I have 5 minutes. So raise your hand if you've ever said, I fucking hate DevOps, or which DevOps tool should we use, or if your job or a job title at your company includes DevOps engineer or DevOps lead, or if you're hiring for your DevOps team. Sorry, but you're using that word wrong. DevOps is not a tool. DevOps is not a company or an organization. DevOps is not a position that you can have. You cannot be a DevOps. So let's just talk about what DevOps is. And maybe before we talk about DevOps, let's talk about like old school. So old school organization, it looks like this. We've got product management, dev, QA, operations. They're all different silos, right? So let's get to DevOps. How do we go from here to DevOps? Well, a lot of people think that the way that you go from here to DevOps is by, like, let's say we're going to take our operations team. We're going to call them DevOps. We're going to get rid of QA. We're going to give dev sudo access and a pager. Boom! DevOps. We got it. We are now DevOps up in this mofo. What do you guys think? This, I'm sorry, but this is actually not DevOps. This is not what DevOps is about. It does not count. DevOps is about tearing down silos, not relabeling existing silos, not just about giving people that don't really know like operations stuff, like, oh, you're now the operations dude. You now have sudo access on the box. Yes, maybe in an organization that practices DevOps, maybe your developers will have pagers, but it's not a requirement. Also, this came out on Twitter a couple of months ago. There was the Rails DevOps cheat sheet. Knowing the Linux or Unix command line, that's not DevOps. I mean, it's cool. You should totally know how to list the open files on your system. But if you know LSOF and what that means and what it does, that doesn't make you a DevOps. So DevOps is not a new name for system administration. It's not a new name for operations or release engineering or site reliability engineering. That's not what DevOps is. DevOps is definitely not a tool, right? So which DevOps tool should I use? Oh, you should totally use Chef. Now, I agree, you should totally use Chef, but that's not a DevOps tool, right? What is it? It is a cultural and professional movement. It's all about development and operations. Screw that. The entire business working together to drive value to your customers. Like, what are our business goals? How does our business make a living? How do we make money? Let's work towards that. We're going to leverage ideas and processes from other industries. Think about, say, Toyota manufacturing. Think about lean manufacturing and ideas like this. If you haven't yet, go read the Phoenix Project. Actually, if you have read it, go give it to your boss and ask him or her to read the Phoenix Project. There's a great quote in here. Every COO who doesn't, basically every COO in the future will come from IT, because you have to understand IT to understand the business, because IT is the business. So what is DevOps? DevOps is all about CAMs: culture, automation, measurement, and sharing. So this is a blog post from a couple of years back on the Ops Code blog, but it talks about these different things. So what exactly is a DevOps culture? It's one where there's open communication. The incentives and responsibilities are aligned, right? So it's not developers go build a bunch of new projects. Operations, just say no, keep everything stable, right? That's misaligned objectives. We need to align those objectives. It's also about respect and trust. You need to respect and trust the people that you work with and the tools that you use. Automation. The tools that you use to automate actually are important, and they're a reflection, and they reinforce the culture of your organization. So pick tools that do that. Measurement. Data is better than opinion, right? I don't care what your opinion is. So this thing really struck me. I'm old enough to have watched like the 80s, the decade that made us, and they did this whole little thing on, there was a time, some of you are younger than me, but there was a time when like rock and roll was one genre and rap was another genre. Well, Aerosmith, who was a big rock band, and Run DMC, who was a big rap band, came together and they made this song called Walk This Way. Run DMC covered Aerosmith. And to me, it just reflected DevOps totally. So Run DMC was asked to go into the studio and do this, and they said, oh, hell no, this is hillbilly gibberish. This is like ops saying, dude, I don't know what the fuck this code does. And then Steven Tyler's like, what the hell are they doing to our song? Developers saying, hey, works fine for me, works on my machine. So if you get really good at DevOps, it's not about becoming the other person, it's about working together. Look at Run DMC and Aerosmith. They came together, they made Walk This Way. Now when you're ready to really level it up, You can bring the noise. You can be Public Enemy teaming up with Anthrax. Public Enemy is also super awesome because they've got the security group. They've got Flavor Flav. He's on to measurement. Look at that clock, man. He's timing everything. All right, that's it. That's my talk. DevOps with me.